You are listening to a Life in Quebec podcast. For more, visit lifeinquebec.com.
Hi, this is Ruby Protka from Life in Quebec Magazine. The article I'm about to read, Demystifying Early Child Care in Quebec, appeared in the March 2016 edition of Life in Quebec Magazine. It was written by myself, Ruby Protka, and Philippa Jabouin. Congratulations, you're going to be parents. Under Quebec's labor laws, in most professions, a mother who is employed has a right to a minimum of 18 weeks unpaid maternity leave, and a father is entitled to a minimum of 5 weeks off. But sooner or later, the uninterrupted family time has to come to an end. Finding a daycare arrangement is a major preoccupation for parents and future parents in an environment where some families wait 3 years or more for a space in publicly funded daycare centers. The list of options can be confusing, especially in light of recent funding cuts to the public system. So Life in Quebec decided to ask a panel of parents about their own experiences. There are 3 categories of childcare in the province for children under school age. Publicly funded facilities overseen by government officials and a board of directors, partially publicly funded family-run facilities, which can only accommodate 6 children or up to 9 with an aide, and private facilities, some of which receive a partial subsidy. Non-subsidized facilities run like private businesses and can charge what they see fit. Some private facilities, usually smaller ones, receive a certain amount of government funding for supplies. Government-run CPEs, Centre de la Petite Enfance, are subject to a sliding price scale. However, all CPEs, private daycares, and family-run daycares must receive the same provincial certification to be allowed to operate, clarifies Nadia Caron, spokesperson for Quebec's Ministère de la Famille. In 2013, the last year for which statistics are available from the Ministère de la Famille, 34.5% of children in daycare were enrolled in the government-run CPE, 16.4% were in a subsidized private daycare, 11.4% in a non-subsidized private daycare, and 37.4% in family-run daycares. In 1997, then Education Minister Pauline Marois announced the creation of publicly funded child care spaces at a cost of $5 per day. Today, the prices of subsidized child care in Quebec are determined by a sliding scale, with parents in the lowest income bracket paying $7.30 per day, and those in the highest bracket paying $20. Waiting lists can be long, and many parents sign their children up as soon as they learn they're pregnant. Parents can put their children on a waiting list via the La Place 0 à 5 web portal and indicate their child's needs. The web portal also contains information about public and private certified daycares in the applicant's region. I did sign up as soon as I was pregnant, but at the time there was a 3-year waiting list, says Isabel Green, a mother of 2 in Quebec City. I initially put my daughter into a private daycare and I was paying close to $20 per day. Private daycares are hit and miss. Some are very good, but there are others where they just put the kids in front of a TV. In a CPE, you know the employees have all had the same training. In a perfect world, if you can get your children into a CPE right away, it's the best thing for them. If you find one you like, even if you don't think there is space, call and you may be surprised. The effort and patience sometimes involved in getting into a CPE discourages some parents, however. I sent my children to a private daycare because I couldn't find a government-run CPE with space, says Melanie Cousineau, a mother of 2 in Gatineau. For certain CPEs, you need to be an employee of this or that organization, a resident of this or that neighborhood, or a student. There are quite a few criteria. At one point, I was offered 1 place in a public CPE, but what with the extra gas required to get there, I would have paid just as much. I would also have ended up sending my son and my daughter to different CPEs, which would be ridiculous. Marie-Ève Dolbec, spokesperson for the coopérative Enfant Famille, which manages La Place 0 à 5, acknowledges that every daycare has the right to specify geographic requirements or whether they can take children with special needs. Requirements must be approved by the ministry, but the daycare decides. CPEs are also, to a certain extent, at the mercy of the government's fiscal decisions. Sylvie Nadeau, managing director at the CPE du Bois Joli in Lévis, says her center's budget cuts have affected her ability to operate. We can't cut in the quality of services offered to the children, so we have to cut administrative expenses, she explains. Like many public service workers in the province, CPE Dubois-Joly employees have joined recent protests against austerity measures. We feel that the government favors private daycares and we have the impression we're moving backwards, Nadeau says. However, when a space opens up, we do get calls right away. Parents who want a smaller, more intimate environment for their child have the option of family-run daycares, which is the route Chen Zhang chose for her daughter Victoria Legault, too. I thought it would be safer for my child if she was in a small group setting. We're on the CPE waiting list, and the large private daycares are too expensive and farther from where I live. Whatever daycare you choose, you need to ask as many questions as you can, says Cousineau. Check their certification, have a look at the kitchen. You can see how the employees treat the kids because the kids learn their behavior from daycare. When my daughter puts her dolls to bed, she says, "Il faut te reposer, mon amour." Rosa Awad, a mother of 3 in Gatineau whose youngest child attends a family-run daycare, advises parents to give themselves time to find the right place. Returning to work after leave is stressful enough without worrying about the well-being of your children, she says. Taking childcare options that aren't the best fit ultimately leads to more stress in the long run. The right fit for a daycare goes a long way to ensuring quality of life all around.
Thank you for listening to the Life in Quebec podcast. For more news, commentary, editorials, and opinion, visit lifeinquebec.com/podcast.